Alrighty. Silekind, the leader of the mercenaries who joined our cause. I have some questions about your fascination with Sarkoris. I understand that few people are interested in this subject, even other anthropologists unjustly neglect it, but I intend to shed light on this chapter of history. If anything remains of Sarkoris, I will fund it, no matter how small its charts may be. But plenty of refugees from Sarkoris found a home in other lands. Their culture lives on. Well, that's open to interpretation. Once Sarkorian refugees found themselves in foreign lands and surrounded by strangers, they inevitably began to adopt the culture of their hosts. Have you met Sarkorians from Numeria? By now, they are more Numerian than not, and for that I blame the people in power. It was in their interests to erase the cultural identity of the arriving Sarkorians, to forge them into new subjects who had forgotten their homeland. Besides, Sarkoris was never a monolithic entity. It was an alliance of countless tribes, each carrying different cultural baggage, sometimes even contradicting one another. To piece together an understanding of the customs of Sarkoris as a whole, you can't rely on the knowledge of the surviving tribes. What fascinates you so much about Sarkoris? A sparkle of passion gleams in Salkin's eyes. They were an amazing people. We were used to treating Sarkoris like a barbaric northern land inhabited by brutish and primitive people who condemned magic and danced the shaman's tune, but this is our snobbery speaking. In fact, life in Sarkoris was much more nuanced and sophisticated. Behind the false front we erected, there was hiding a nation of skilled craftsmen, wise stargazers, enlightened priests, and clear-thinking chieftains. They were anything but bloodthirsty and brutish. They managed to create a nation without shackling themselves with the bonds of monarchy or thrusting power into the hands of wealthy magnates. They were cultured, spiritual, curious, and they despised injustice. Sure, they had their flaws, but are there many nations in the world where power genuinely belongs to the people? Over the last few years, I've seen acts of horror even in Andorran, not to mention other countries. In Sarkoris, power was given to those who earned their authority. I feel that if it weren't for the world-ruined disaster, they would have given Aristan and the entirety of Golarion a distinct vision of the future, where everyone was free and equal. The fall of Sarkoris is a tragedy, and therefore we must expend every effort to collect pieces of that picture. How do you plan to look for the remnants of Sarkorian culture? I'm sending scout patrols to places where, if my assumptions are correct, there may be still Sarkorian refugees hiding in plain sight. I don't believe a whole country can perish without a trace. Among the locations I'm interested in are Puluras Fall, the mining town of Sazvel, to the west of here, the city of Undarin, a Bloodwood settlement, and many others. The captain's expression grows stern. Of course, some of the company commanders think I divert too many resources to such expeditions, but I couldn't care less. If there are any survivors, we will save them. Have you ever heard of a village called Wintersun? Actually, that's why I'm here. As soon as I learned you had discovered a settlement where the surviving Sarkorians still live, I volunteered to take command of the company vanguard. It's a fantastic, priceless anthropological discovery, and I hope the devastated lands of former Sarkoris still have little nooks like Wintersun. You are correct. Some Sarkorians did escape. I visited one of their secret dwellings, but I cannot tell you where. I swore an oath of secrecy. The captain's eyes shine with excitement. He opens his eyes to... Mouth. He opens his mouth to let loose the first barrage of questions, but ultimately restrains himself. His expression betrays happiness and frustration in equal measure. At last he clears his throat and says, I understand. An oath is an oath. How do you plan to look for the No. No more questions. Let me know if you need help with your search. Actually, I could use some help. A group of my scouts has gone missing. Presumably they got lost. They're competent and reliable soldiers that I trained personally. Their orders were to carefully and stealthily retreat if they discovered anything dangerous. If you find my men, please give them directions to Dresden. I'd be extremely grateful. Please let me mark the area that were that they were headed to on your map. Sorry. What can you tell me about Sarkorian culture? I study their traditions, their customs and their rulers. I know what they loved, and I know what they feared. And did they really persecute mystic practitioners in Sarkoris? It would be historically inaccurate to deny it or to excuse these acts. Yes. The Sarkorian society was not perfect. They reacted to mystical power with fear and prejudice, but this particular conflict was deeply rooted in politics. In many countries, mystic practitioners hold vast power due to their special abilities. It's these people who often become oppressors, tyrants and despots. Yes, the treatment of mystics in Sarkoris was cruel and unjust, but the people united in struggle against a minority that often encroached upon their interests in a very hostile manner. I am repulsed by the idea of throwing innocent people into prisons, but I am not naive. Those political realities can't simply be dismissed or ignored. They need to be understood and unaddressed, because these desperate actions also have a certain logic at their core. Tell me what you find the most exciting about Sarkorian history. Have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? I thought not. It's not a story the Hand of the Inheritor would tell you. So have you heard of God Callers? Oh, they're an amazing and fascinating cultural phenomenon. The Sarkorians were a highly spiritual people that revered not only the deities we know, but also a plethora of lesser entities. Tribe gods, clan gods, settlement gods, and sometimes even patrons of individual families. God callers could contact those beings and become their, how shall I translate it, companions. They formed a very strong bond. In a way, gods were their spiritual siblings. Well, you can imagine just how different that society was from ours. Union with the divine was a more regular occurrence, and the higher powers intervened in the affairs of mortals more often. Who ruled Sarkoris? Oh, that's a very interesting question. Many people compare Sarkoris to modern kingdoms, since they did have chieftains endowed with absolute power. Still, the nation did not have a single leader. The council of chiefs made their decisions together. In some places, the post of chieftain was hereditary, but as far as I know, not everywhere. Besides, their politics were influenced by god callers and priests who relayed the wishes and expectations of higher powers to common folk, so chieftains could not ignore them. I would compare Sarkoris to modern Andorran rather than Mende. It was a true nation, a people firmly aware of their unity and shared purpose. Who you are again, I have to go. Who else can we talk to? Sealer, do you have anything new for us? The fate of the leak of the card affected you greatly. So you could say. I did what I thought was right. I tried to help a good person with their troubles. And what came of it? I'm sorry, but I won't find peace until I track down Curl and Jenna. What were they thinking? Is there any way to get through to them? Or should I just admit that I was terribly wrong? There's another thing that worries me. The way people react to your power, and mine. I think that if we've been chosen by Yomide, they need to pray at our feet. I'm not comfortable with the younger warriors hanging on my every word. I feel alone. Nobody else is going to sit with me and celebrate saving a beer cart. And I'd like to regain, if not the friendship, at least the trust of the other Knights. Especially those I respect and consider my friends, like Elan. That's it, right? Nobody else here. Okay. And we can continue our crusader business.
Let us press on.
I would like to go for the dragon, so we need to get rid of one of our characters. We can put him into our squadron. Yeah, goodbye. what's that? Wait for the result. Ah, that's the enemy. Whoa. Seriously, Blackwater. Clown settlement. Demon army, okay. So that's our backup army. What can we do here? Hunt for the kidnappers. Skilled trackers and interrogators will hunt down and destroy the band of demons. Okay. Diplomacy, abduction has been eliminated. Perfect. What else do we have? Forming a logistics council. The success of military action depends on regular supplies of everything troops need and the judicious distribution of resources. Logistic council, made up of experienced officers, will ensure there is no chaos in the army while the commander's attention is focused on the front line. Perfect. Relics. Okay, I still have one. Other, can't do that right now. Decrees enacted. Campaign. Where's our main army? Ah, now we have only marksmen. By only 117. Still, it's acceptable. So where should we go? What's up here? Let's go up there. Why not? Let's conquer this entire region. We can do it. Sorcerer's Fortress. Yes. Go. Can't we go up here? That's odd. Logistics Council. Assembled and waits the commander at the headquarters for the first meeting. Oh, so the enemy army is approaching. That's bad. Let's manage first. Okay. Can we build anything of interest here? I'd say no, everything's fine. Bonus energy, we don't need that. AC droning build, yeah, I don't like that. Hall of strategy, bonus to attack and defense for all generals. Do I want that? Should we build military academy? Provides bonus to attack, AC and saving throws for all trainable units. That's better. Yeah, skilled military. Let's build a second military academy. Okay, done here. Let's go to the council. Hand of the Inheritor. The angel radiates confidence, its powerful voice solemn and proud. Champion, my heart rejoices to find you in good health. I know you have many important matters to attend to, but first listen to me. Your exploits have inspired many. The priests in Dresden and Mendev preach until they grow hoarse. They grow hoarse? What? Hoarse. Surrounded by crowds of soldiers and lay people. But they are beset by doubt. Should their words stir the soldiers' hearts, spur righteous anger and thirst for victory? Or should they soothe war-weary souls like a healing elixir? Perhaps they should preach vigilance and remind the masses how dark and dangerous our adversary is. Tell me what you think, and I shall carry word to the priests. Will you be my advisor, mighty one? I wish to help, Commander, but no champion. But I do not know if my counsel will be of any use for you, for I have never lived among mortals. But should I sense trouble or see a good opportunity, I will come to you and tell you the truth. I will trust your wisdom. The angel shakes his head. These are your warriors, and you bear the burden of answering for them. I know how heavy this burden is, and I would ease it if I could, but that is not the way of things. This is your decision to make. What do you think the consequences of my decision will be? You can move mountains with a righteous word. The priest's promises of peace will console people, and the tide of great souls flocking to your banner will not slacken even the darkest hour. Their sermons of war will harden your soldiers' resolve, kindle their righteous fury, and inspire them to fight the enemy without regard for themselves. As for the frightening speeches, their purpose is to reach the ears of those who live under the protection of the crusaders. Not everyone has a strong arm to carry a sword, but many have the gold to buy one. Remind them of the hardships and adversity that our soldiers face, and they will gladly aid our cause. So we have the effect of positive morale and recruitment growth increased by 50. Effect of positive morale and finance material. No. Let the priests bring comfort to my stalwart warriors. You're kind and merciful, and you have my respect. I will carry your words to the people and the priests. Let them remind the people that hope is alive and shines brightly even in this dark hour. At this point I will remain silent. I dare not disturb you further, champion. Hail, Commander! A middle-aged dwarf, who has clearly seen some combat, salutes you with one barely moving, bone-dry hand. On her face are huge scarred claw marks. A black eye patch. She doesn't even have a... okay. Covers one eye, but she's watching you with the other, intent and somber. Dorgelinda Stranglehold, Chair of the Logistics Council, at your service. We've got ourselves an ugly situation that requires your decision. Hopefully this council will benefit from my vast experience surviving with gear that consists of rock and sticks, and where any dinner that's not squirming on your plate, is considered a feast. All in all, kind of like our crusade. I won't lie to you, our logistics are a mess. We need more of everything, and what we do have is in disarray. Crates of provisions are rotting away in storehouses, because some idiot quartermaster spilled beer on the papers. And fools are not the worst problems, they're also theft. Some officers grease palms to get a helmet with stylish plumage, or a fancy blade from Nerosian. Meanwhile, it means that ordinary soldiers are being armed with barely more than kitchen knives, hammers and tongs. It's time to give the entire logistics staff the bomb thrush. The question is, where do we find capable and honest people to replace them? Well, let's get some veterans on the job, people who've had their fill on the front lines and who know firsthand what life is like for a common soldier, what the Russians taste like and how the boots are always the wrong size. My suggestion is to call some experienced, well-connected supply officers from Nerosian. Let them leave their cushy jobs in Mendev and work up a sweat for the good of the cause. Dorgelinder, what are this council's responsibilities? Logistics Council deals with all matters related to supplying the army. Most issues will be trivial and undeserving of your attention. However, from time to time, serious decisions will need to be made, and that's when I'll convene the council. Lan, how can you be useful to this council? I know a thing or two about gathering weapons and provisions. Compared to the war for survival we had to wage underground, your guys have it easy up here. If things go badly, I can teach your troops to live off the land and how to craft decent weapons from junk. They'll have memories of Land's special stew for years. Not sure those will be fond memories, but they'll remember them for sure, and they will remember because they will survive. Dorgelinder, why were you assigned to head this council? Over my years of doing quartermaster duty, I've managed to develop a bit of a reputation for myself. The units I'm responsible for are always properly equipped, armed and fed. Thieves, scatterbrains and reprobates promptly get the boot. Bureaucrats, who never seem to have anything, miraculously find everything they need after meeting with me. I am awesome. In short, don't you worry, Commander, I'm right where I belong. I see. Let's discuss our options in more detail. Lan, what would you advise? In our tribe, we believe that the hunter's gear should be entrusted to the most seasoned hunters, to those who stalk the prey themselves and learn the price of a mistaken outfitting. An old bowstring, a dull spear, a tattered cloak, the hard way. I think that's how it should be in the army. Whoever is responsible for supplies must know war firsthand. They must have dragged themselves through the mud of the battlefield, seen with their own eyes how a rotted strap or a boot one size too large can lead to a soldier's death. They must have eaten their share of rotten cabbages, and seen carts of horseshoes and pots pull up at their position instead of ammunition because of some clerical error. Assign your quartermasters from the veterans, like Dorgalinder here. I bet they won't steal, and they won't let anyone else steal either. Dorgalinder, your opinion? There are some great workers in Mendev who have been sitting at home for way too long, and the Queen has sent them to us. Instead of counting buttocks for frock coats of Nerosian royal guards, they let them sort out our supplies, and they already have connections in Nerosian. They could easily have army property decommissioned and later sold to private buyers for next to nothing. And those buyers will just happen to be the same mercenaries we're negotiating with. Connections are all too important, as you well know. Okay, so either we have all trainable units gain only the essentials feat, equipment from the state feat. And what? Expand. 1 bonus to attack and saving throws. Maximum 10% maximum. Holy, okay. Yes. Essentials. Lan, our new quartermasters will be veterans. Veterans know what's what. They won't do their comrades wrong. They'll see that they're always fed, healthy and warm. Then it is decided. No matter what our new quartermasters are like, there's no possible way they can be worse than what we have now. The results will be reported to you, and if anything else comes up, I'll call the council right away. Perfect. It's done here, and now we can return to the crusade. Even though a demonic army is approaching, and we can't really move our main troops too far away. We're in a bit of a pickle. We could just march towards demonic army. Destroy them. Where are they? Here they are, demonic army. What do they have? Incubi, fire elementals, cultist mages, 100 boomerangs. Okay, but it will take them some time till they're with us. Time that we could use to fight north here. So that's what we're going to do. Oh, well hello there, would you look at that. Okay, so first more shield bearers. Marksmen, scouts. Even though I'm pretty sure we're going to move out the scouts. Cavalry, yes. Okay, so what do we have now? Spearmen. Slingers I don't care about. Headhunters. Oh, bandits. Short bows. Range 19, 17. I mean, headhunters sound very nice. I'd love to buy them. Search. Let's see what else we can get. Only spearmen. Let's improve our secondary army. There they are. You get these people, and we have to make a decision. Yeah, I don't really need the bandits. You go south again. Uriel Solaretti, White Nicer, Magister Pilkwell, Baroness Gaunter. Is she an angel? Offensive training, elemental protection, heroism. Okay. Gang of demons hunting runaway slaves was not reckoning on facing the commander's conquering forces. Among the bloody corpses, the crusaders discovered a dark god-forsaken altar fashioned from the teeth of demons' captured victims and the webs of the monstrous mechanical spider retrievers. The soldiers clamored to burn it, but the more tactically minded officers decided not to rush into anything and passed it on to the commander for examination. Altar of the First Retrievers. Barely a soul has ever managed to escape the revenge of the demons. The fiend dispatch their retrievers, the creepy mechanical spiders they created for hunting, to silently track down their enemies, runaway slaves or renegade cultists. As legend has it, the first retriever was made by the demon lord Haragenti, the lord of transformation. Throughout the ages, the first retriever fell under the ownership of different demon masters, but was an impeccable servant to all, was inimpeccable. A mortal heretic and twice renegade finally put a halt to the first retriever's murderous servitude. The Templar of the Ivory Labyrinth, whose name is unknown, repented of his deeds and left the cult. The first retriever was sent forth on his trail but never returned. Both retriever and prey fell in the fight. Later the demons discovered the retriever's remains and cobweb and turned them into an altar. The retriever's ravenous hunger seeped into the altar. Decades later, worshippers took their sacrifices there. They ripped out teeth of all who tried to flee demons' wrath, but were caught and slain. It's kind of disturbing. Begging for mercy, one of the imprisoned demons points at an inconspicuous crack in the rock that their unit had been ordered to guard until the arrival of a pack of slaves. Examining the crack, the crusaders return to the commander and proudly display a handful of shining dust to him. The crevice is home to an adamantine load. This rare and precious metal will come in useful to the Mandavian army. I wonder, can we just go this way? That would be perfect. During the First Crusade, the Radiant Sarenrae performed a miracle here, granting the Crusaders a victory in a battle that was otherwise lost. Years later, during the Second Crusade, the Knights of Mendev clashed with the army of the Abyss here once again. They fought to the bitter end, but the miracle was not repeated. The carnage was atrocious, and those who fell found no repose, rising again as undead. Now they have found peace in the flames of bonfires. The crusaders cleansed the blood and dirt from the statue of the sun goddess, lifting with trembling hands the sacred golden symbol from her chest, a relic long believed to have been lost. Faultless daybreak. In the course of the First Crusade, a group of Sarenrae worshippers, healers, went to the aid of Godfrey's army. However, in the dark of the night, they were attacked by a gang of demons and demon-worshipping cultists, who had edged into their rear. Though unskilled in battle, the clerics and healers fought desperately, repelling one attack after another, but the sides were not evenly matched. No one was left to repel the final attack. All of the Sarenrae adepts were wounded. No one was able to raise their sword, so they met the enemy with prayer, and a miracle happened. The morning broke an hour early, and the first rays of dawn expelled the demons into the abyss. The light healed the most terrible wounds of the mortals and brought the fallen, whether righteous or sinful, back to life. Both the believers and the misguided shed their tears. They fell to their knees as one and prayed to the bright goddess for forgiveness, and forgiveness was granted. Not a single mortal died on that bloody night. The last and the brightest ray of dawn blinded everyone, and took the shape of the sacred symbol of Sarenrae. They renamed the relic the Faultless Daybreak, and placed it on the breast of a statue mounted on the site where the miracle had happened. Interesting. I guess that's a relic that we have to... Yes, discover. In our crusade management overview. Alrighty. What about the next army? Easy. Pray. Oh, items, eye for an eye. Ooh. Hello there. Alrighty. Until next time.